Liverpool travel to Germany tonight, still smarting after that bitter disappointment of the Manchester United game at the weekend. 4 straight defeats, not something the Reds are used to, is it? And the urge to get back on track tonight is strong. It's match day 3 of this season's Champions League campaign. It's Eintracht Frankfurt against Liverpool tonight. Arne Slot's men looking to right some wrongs this evening, you could say. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff here in the UK. That is 9 o'clock over in Germany. Just before kickoff, we will have live audio commentary of the full game here on LFC TV and all red video as well. Now, if you're watching on social media and you do want to subscribe tonight, visit the official website right now for all the details. Yeah, welcome along to Matchday Live and a warm welcome to my guests in the studio as well. Gary Gillespie and Neil Mellor alongside me tonight on a night we're all massively hoping, aren't we, Liverpool get back on track. Very unfamiliar territory, you could say, Mels, this evening. 4 defeats on the bounce and there's a real need to steady the ship, isn't there?
Yeah, it is a strange feeling. I think it's good, the fact that a game comes around so quickly.
I thought you were going to say it's good, that we've lost 4.
It's definitely not good to have 4 defeats in a row. It's an unusual feeling. I think out of the 4 defeats, and why I'm feeling maybe a little bit more optimistic and I'm not buying into all this noise, which can get a little bit heavy on social media, it's out of the 4 defeats, and I'm sat here honestly thinking, one of them we probably deserve to lose. I don't think we deserve to lose at Galatasaray. Definitely not at Chelsea, and definitely not at the weekend. We're not getting outplayed in these games. So at the moment, it feels like maybe we're a little bit fortunate to win a few games early on the season. We're definitely being a little bit unfortunate at the moment. We just want to get back to controlling games, and the sooner we can do that, I think we'll certainly be in for a little bit more consistency with our performance. There's been a lot of change in the summer. There has been a lot of change in the summer. New personnel, the manager's still trying to work out the right balance for the team, trying to find those sort of solutions. But yeah, I'm not too concerned at the moment. The results haven't been great, not enjoyed that, but I'm not in a panic state yet. Yeah,
because chances are still being created, Garrett. As Mel says, of course, you want better results, but a better performance tonight, a more cohesive performance would also be a big step forward. I think
what we're looking for is like the new boys that we've signed to kind of bed in a little bit better than maybe what they have done in the previous games. I think I buy into like what Neil's saying there. I think when you look at it, we've lost 3 games in the Premier League, yet we're only 4 points behind Arsenal. At this early stage of the season is nothing really, to be quite honest with you. And the season really hasn't got going with all the international breaks that we've had so far. We've got another one coming up in November, which is never ideal for like the start of a season. Yeah. So I don't buy into all like the noise that's going around about it, that it's all doom and gloom. It never is. It's a long old season. We've still got an awful lot of games to play. We've played a lot of good teams along the way as well, which people tend to forget. But you know, I think it's vitally important that, you know, the standards that we've set last season, I think you've got to try and match them as close as possible. And we haven't been like that this season so far. So vitally important. If you get the performances right, I think the results come. And that's what I think we're looking for tonight. It won't be easy tonight.
No.
I kind of like fear for this game a little bit, because they've got goals in this team against us, Eintracht Frankfurt. So I can see it being quite a high scoring kind of game. Yeah,
more on Eintracht Frankfurt in just a moment, but there's lots more to come from Gary and Neil in a second. Let's head over to Germany now. In fact, we've lost Mark Benstead, so we're not going to have Mark Benstead. Wait a minute, he's back. Let's go over to Frankfurt now. There he is, back and forth, but we've got him in the end. Mark Benstead has got the Liverpool starting 11. Mark.
Good evening, Becky, and welcome to the Deutsche Bank Park. Very impressive stadium here in Frankfurt. Around 3,000 Liverpool fans have made the trip over to Germany for the game. They're situated in the stand just over my right shoulder. And I kind of was trying to work out what the mood amongst the fans be. What would be the message from the supporters to Arne Slot and his players ahead of the game? And I kind of liken the situation to that scene in Rocky 2. Adrian's in her bed, Rocky's at her bedside. She says to him, "I want you to do one thing for me." He leans in, win. And I think that is simply the message, the target being laid in front of these players. It's stop the rot and get back on the horse after those 4 straight defeats. In terms of team news for today, we know Ryan Gravenberch, he twisted his ankle in that defeat to Manchester United. He is one of 5 alterations that Arne Slot makes to his team for this evening's game. From that, they're lined up at Anfield on Sunday. The Reds team in full then is as follows. It'll be Georgi Mamashvili who will continue in goal. A back 4 of Jeremy Frimpong, Ibu Kanati, Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson. It looks like the midfield 3 will be Curtis Jones, Dominic Szoboszlai and Florian Wirtz. Then a front 3 which will see Cody Gakpo off the left, Alexander Isak through the middle, and we think Hugo Ekitike operating off the right. Ekitike scored 22 goals last season for Eintracht Frankfurt. On the bench, it's Woodman, the sub-goalkeeper. Cornel Muscure, the 18-year-old keeper, is involved in the matchday squad for the first time alongside him. It's Gomez, Endo, who returns from injury, Kirkes, McAllister, Salah, Bradley. Conor Bradley will miss the clash with Real Madrid next month if he is yellow-carded in this match. Fede Chiesa is in as he was added to the Champions League squad, and Ngamoa. Yeah, that is Liverpool's team. I'll give you the full rundown of the Frankfurt team very shortly, but the headline team news for them is that Mario Götze, the World Cup winner, makes his first start of the season.
Thanks very much indeed, Mark. We'll get the thoughts of Gary and Mel's in the studio on that starting 11 for Liverpool firstly before we get that Frankfurt team. I think there are a lot of moving parts, you could say, tonight, Gary, and that 11 was really up for debate, but as Mark's just given it out there, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's a coach trying to find the best formula to get a result, simple as. He's trying to fit everybody into that side that you would expect to have started the season. It'll be interesting to see exactly where everybody does play. No Mohamed Salah, which is always a big call. He's done it before in like the Champions League. So I didn't expect Salah to play actually, but I'm sure he will be back for the weekend. So it's an opportunity for maybe a different sort of formation. If he's up for that, he can play Wirtz on the right. He could play Ekitike on the right, but it'll be interesting to see actually where everybody does fit in. Alexi McAllister has been left out. I think Szoboszlai will probably play alongside Curtis Jones as the 2 kind of holding midfield players, and then after that, it's a very, very fluid kind of formation, and I would expect it to be quite an attacking formation as well.
I think that's what stands out to me, just how attacking that lineup is. Gary mentioned it a little bit earlier on, the fact that Frankfurt will carry their own goal threat, but defensively they've been a little bit vulnerable this season, and that says to me the manager's saying we can go out there and have a real good go with the attacking players. We expected changes, we didn't know how many changes there would be. I think what you would say is, as much as we're sort of thinking who would be in the team, there's competition for places.
Yeah.
You're thinking there's players that are desperate to start. Ekitike has been desperate to start for a few games now. Where he starts, I don't know. Because Gakpo's playing, I'm thinking, everyone was saying he'd play off the left, but Gakpo's starting, so you're thinking, OK, well, will we see Ekitike playing slightly closer to Isak, rather than out on the right-hand side, like Salah's been out on more on the right-hand side? Wirtz looks like he'll be the 10. So you're looking at the attacking players we have, that will cause them a lot of problems. The fullbacks have changed. Andy Robertson and Frimpong, good energy in wide areas. I think we have to say it's a big blow that Ryan Gravenberch isn't fit. You know, he picked up that injury at the weekend against Manchester United. That was unfortunate. He has been the only real natural 6 we've had. So that is a big blow. But you would expect Curtis Jones to be the deeper of the 2.
I thought he played really well when he came on.
He did. But I think he'll be the more disciplined. Szoboszlai is naturally that 8, wants to get up and support the attacks, but has the energy to get back as well defensively, and he's in the role he wants to be rather than right fullback. He's in that midfield position, so I'm excited. That's a team that says to me this is going to be a great game to watch.
Yeah, we'll touch on Curtis Jones in a moment. You just saw him there walking out in Frankfurt. But let's speak about Hugo Ekitike, Gary, returning, of course, to his former club, and he was so loved by the Frankfurt fans. When you look at the stats, it's not hard to see why. 2 seasons there, 64 games, 26 goals and 14 assists, and you always want to make an impression, don't you, going back to your old stomping ground, if you like. Yeah,
and it's not always as easy as maybe what like people think it is. It's I think emotionally it can be a little bit of a drain on you. Listen, it's something you'll just have to get used to and get over, and the quicker he gets over that, the better it'll be for Liverpool. But I mean, he started the season exceptionally well. Can consider himself really be unlucky to be left out of the side. And I think everybody was clamouring for him to actually start somewhere along the line. Gets his opportunity tonight. He's proven that he's a good goal scorer. I think the stats that you say I think proves that he's not just a goal scorer. I think he's got the all-round game to really dominate games, and hopefully we'll see that for a long time in a Liverpool jersey, as like the Eintracht Frankfurt fans have seen it for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, he has had an outstanding start. Miles, 5 goals in all competitions so far for Hugo Ekitike. I mean, as a former striker yourself, what qualities about him do you really admire?
The fact he can score. I think that's ultimately what you want to see him doing, and he has done. You know, Gary mentioned about him settling in really well. I think Frankfurt, going back there for him, they sort of made him become the player that we bought. You know, he was a real talented young player at PSG, didn't quite work out for him. He went to Frankfurt, and all of a sudden everybody wanted to sign him because of how well he did. He played in a 2 a lot with Marmoush, who ended up getting his move to Manchester City. But even though he's a really young man, he became the main man for Frankfurt, and they had a great season last year. They finished 3rd in the Bundesliga. He's got himself the move. He settled in really quickly by scoring goals. In recent times, he would have been disappointed because he started so well by scoring these goals, and this was his last goal that he scored against Southampton in the cup. He started one of the last 5 games. As a centre forward, he'd be really disappointed. We've signed Isak as well. All of a sudden, it's like, who's going to start? Is it Ekitike? Is it Isak? They're both starting today. So it's an opportunity for them both to say, let's make this work. Let's make this work.
I was just going to say that might not happen tonight if he scores, but you can understand why in a sense, because the emotions, you know, there's a real hunger from him to prove he is worth that starting spot.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out, he might play a little bit behind Isak. He might play in that number 10 role, and Wirtz might play in the wide right position, or when I say wide right, on that right hand side, because I do believe that Frimpong and him have got quite a good understanding, obviously coming from the same club as well. So that might be a case where Wirtz will play on that right hand side, but maybe not as wide as maybe what Mohamed Salah did. Play a little bit narrower, which will allow Frimpong to bomb up and down that right hand side, which is his strength, and it might be fruitful for Liverpool down there.
In terms of Wirtz, and you are, I think, the biggest Florian Wirtz fan that I know, Mels, but
there's lots of super fans.
There are lots, you're one of them though, but he will obviously have much experience playing against Frankfurt. 8 games he's played against them in the past, and 1 goal and 4 assists in those matches. So does a return to maybe a familiar environment, if you like, against a team that you know quite well, may that help him this evening?
Yeah, maybe. The fact he's starting will help him, because he'd have been disappointed himself, been on the bench at Chelsea, United. He's been brought in for a lot of money, and he'd been sat there thinking, why am I not out there on the pitch? That's what these players want to be. They want to be out there in the biggest games. He got the opportunity in both games to come on, and he made a big difference in both of those games. So yes, he's going over to Germany, which he knows very well in terms of he's a German international. He's been there, he's played there before. But for him, he's just trying to show, I want to be part of this Liverpool team. And he can be. And it's been said about new players arriving, settling in, finding the feet, finding the best position, developing that understanding. And he is very much in that bracket, but he's a wonderful player. He really is a wonderful player. And if we can get the best out of him with the other players, I think we have an absolute superstar on our hands there. So it's a chance for him tonight to go out there and show how good a player he is again.
In terms of the fullbacks, Gary, again, Jeremy Frimpong has vast experience, if you like, of playing in Germany and playing against Frankfurt too. Andy Robertson has vast experience, full stop, and you're probably quite pleased to see him getting a starting spot tonight.
Well, not just the fact that he's Scottish. I think every Liverpool team should have a Scotsman.
I wasn't just referring to that.
I think every Liverpool team should have a Scotsman in the starting 11. As simple as that. But I was surprised actually that he hasn't been in the side a lot more than maybe what we've seen. Kerkez has found it difficult, I think, to settle in. I think he's maybe lacking just a little bit of confidence at this moment in time, because things have probably maybe not gone quite how he expected them to go. So I expected Robbo to be a lot more this season. It'll be interesting to see if Andrew Robertson plays really, really well tonight, whether he'll be back into the team on a regular basis in the Premier League starting this weekend. But I think it's just something that you're quite comfortable with Robbo coming back into the side, because he's been there forever. And it's not so long ago, as I've said before, that we probably had the 2 best fullbacks in world football, and Andy Robertson was one of them. Yeah. Obviously the other one's gone elsewhere, but it's something that when you play the style of football that we play, and what most teams play these days, there's a vital role played by the fullbacks, and I think we've got to get back to somewhere like where we were before with regards to their performance.
I think what I'm quite interested with tonight, and we haven't seen it too often this season, Andy Robertson on the left, Frimpong on the right. We know out of the two, Frimpong will want to get forward a little bit more, and because Andy Robertson's a little bit more mature, a little bit more experienced, he might just sit back a little bit deeper than he used to earlier on in his Liverpool career. I think the best performance we've had this season was Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. I thought it was brilliant. Fullbacks that day, Andy Robertson left, Frimpong on the right. So it's an opportunity for them tonight to show that maybe they can get a little bit more game time.
And an opportunity as well for Curtis Jones, second start in the Champions League. Despite the result in Galatasaray, he was one of the standout performers on that night, Gary.
I think he's one of these players that is a very reliable player to be called upon. And I know it's different coming on as a sub and having like influence and making an impact in the game. It is always different from starting a game. But I think we saw at the weekend there was a significant difference when the subs came on. The likes of theirs, I thought like Curtis Jones was instrumental in that as well. Showed a bit of energy, a bit of drive to drive forward with the ball and without the ball as well. So I think it's only right that he gets his chance. And as I say, normally Curtis never really lets you down. He's a steady performer. He always protects the football. The one thing I always say about Curtis Jones, I think you can maybe just see things a little bit quicker and a little bit sooner. But that's you've got to go with what you've got, and what he's got at this moment in time is enough to get a position in the starting 11, I think.
Yeah, speaking of energy, finally, there were a lot of calls for Federico Chiesa to maybe get a start tonight. A lot of people thought that he might be in that first 11. He's on the bench, but you would imagine at some point we will see him, and probably maybe really feels like he might have got a start tonight, Miles. It's difficult for him at the moment.
Well, it's difficult because of the competition for places. Ultimately everyone's fit and in the final third. The manager's got so many options to pick from. He's doing everything he can when he comes off the bench, in terms of contributing. I think he's looked the fittest that he's looked since he's arrived at Liverpool. He had a bit of a stop-start time last season with injuries. He looks fit, he looks hungry. Yes, he gets the assist at the weekend against United. I think he ran about 50 yards to get back in his own half to win the ball back as well. So he's looking desperate to impact the game. So when the manager looks at the bench, he could come on and maybe impact it again and maybe get another goal or assist.
It's difficult for the manager, isn't it? Like initially he's been left out of the squad and then he comes back into the squad.
Yeah.
So I think it's a difficult shout to put him in the starting 11.
You'd imagine we'll see him at some point tonight, Federico Chiesa. Right, I'm sure you will be aware that last night Liverpool's flight over to Germany was delayed by quite a few hours. It gave us the opportunity to sit down with the boss, Arne Slot, who was confident the late departure would not impact his side's preparations for tonight.
No, it will not impact the build-up to tomorrow's game. We've trained over here at the AXA. Normally we would have gone to Frankfurt a few hours earlier. Now we're a few hours later, but no, that can never be an excuse for the game tomorrow.
We've had a win and a defeat so far in the Champions League this season, so how important will it be to get something here, given the amount of competition for positions that there's going to be in the new league phase?
Yeah, I can come up with a few more reasons why it's important to get a result tomorrow as well. So, but every time you play a game in a Liverpool shirt, the aim is to win that game of football. Now we play Frankfurt away, which is maybe a bit similar to Galatasaray, a stadium where the fans will be really loud. So apart from the quality Frankfurt has, this is something we have to take into account as well. But our players are used to play in these circumstances. But a challenge, as it is always when you play Champions League.
Yeah, and of course a challenge as well, given what happened on Sunday and the recent run of form. Does that strengthen the desire to obviously to get back to positive results? Yeah,
it should. But like I said before, the United game, it should not matter if we win or lose a game of football for the next one. The aim is, if you play for Liverpool, if you wear this shirt, is to win every single game. So if we win 7 in a row, how we started the season, then we want to win the next 3. And we didn't. Now we've lost the last 4. So now, of course, we want to see Liverpool winning again. But But like I said, that is not different than when you lost 4 in a row or when you won 4 in a row. But it is just what is expected of you if you play for Liverpool.
You mentioned obviously Frankfurt and the atmosphere that we can maybe expect there. What do you expect from them as a team? They've had obviously a good few seasons. They had in the Bundesliga last season.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's. I don't think they play regularly in the Champions League, but last season they were there in the Europa League. Came quite far. I remember that they played Tottenham, and it was a very equal 180 minutes, maybe even longer. I'm not too sure if it went to extra time. I think it did actually. So that tells you that it's a good team. It's a strong team that have done very well in the Bundesliga and in Europe. And even this season, when they beat Galatasaray, we're 5-1 now. Then we definitely need to be warned by that, because as we all know, we lost against Galatasaray with 1-0. So you never can compare results to each other. But anyway, it's still a team that impressed in their first home game, who will face some difficulties away from home against Atletico Madrid, which is they are not the only team that face difficulties if they play Atletico Madrid in their stadium. So good team, good individuals, well managed by a manager that is already there quite long. So a nice game to look forward to.
And in particular for one of our players, obviously Hugo Ekitike, who joined us from Frankfurt, a special night for him as well.
Yeah, I think it must be. I think it's always special for every player if you go to one of your former clubs, especially if you did really well. But even if you didn't perform really well, it's always nice to see the people that you've worked with again. But he, in his situation, he did so well that I think not only he likes to go back over there, I think the fans over there like to see him as well for what he did for that club, because he was part of the team that brought them to the Champions League. So special for him. I think it's special for Florian as well to go back to Germany, play there. It's special for Jeremy Frimpong because he was also like Florian and like Hugo, so successful in Germany. So it's for the three of them. I think it's nice to play in Germany again.
Yeah, night in Germany awaits tonight for the Reds, looking to get back on track over in Frankfurt in the middle of what is a really tough run, as we've been saying, and a run that feels like uncharted territory in a way for a lot of supporters. Not since 2014 have Liverpool lost 4 games on the bounce. And for the boss as well, we're seeing him there. It is uncharted territory as well, Mels. When you look at his record prior to this, the most he's faced is 2 back-to-back losses in his AZ Alkmaar days. So this is a real test for him as well as everyone else.
Yeah, strange, difficult, tough, unusual. He's got to find the answers, got to find the solutions, got to end this run as quickly as possible. And being away from home in Europe isn't easy. It really isn't, especially against a Frankfurt side who know how to find the back of the net. I think ultimately he knows that with the players he's started tonight, if we take our chances, we've had enough chances in the games that we've lost. If we take our chances, we will be a lot happier knowing that this run will have ended. But we need it to end because the noise starts building. It's another game without a victory. The mood needs to lift. The message will be the same. Keep being brave as players. Know how good you are as players, knowing that we can end this run, hopefully tonight.
Hopefully tonight, indeed. I mean, he looked reasonably relaxed there, didn't he, Gary, to be fair? But in terms of tonight, you know, and the general run at the moment, there's a small section of the fan base who've almost been quite spoiled in recent years and have never known anything but success. But I think the vast majority of supporters have obviously seen ups and downs over the years, and they know that they stay patient. They just need to see an upturn in the performances as well as results.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it, an upturn in the performance on the pitch. And, you know, I think when you look back and analyse the games, I think Neil mentioned it a little bit earlier, you know, like 3 of the games we've lost, in the last seconds of games. You know, like it's been like last-minute goals that have cost us dearly. So, no, I don't think there's too much to worry about. I still think that come the end of the season, we'll still be challenging up there for trophies. I think the squad, for me, is stronger than what it was last year. And I do expect us to be fighting on all levels come the end of the season. But in saying that, as expectation levels go from fans, especially Liverpool fans, or any like fans from a top of the table club, they expect you to win week in, week out, and sometimes it doesn't work out like that. But when you want to win or when you want to be at the top is not just now, it's at May. Come like end of April, beginning of May is when you want to be still in the mix to challenge for that league title. And I think Liverpool will be in the mix come the end of May.
Are you still very confident, Mels, that will be the case, despite obviously a real blow in the last few weeks after starting so well as well? It's even more painful in a way.
Yeah, we always knew it would be difficult to retain the title. Arsenal have strengthened. City will want to try and get back into the title race. I say we are one of 3 teams, them being the other 2 teams, to really challenge. I think along the way you need a little bit of luck in terms of injuries for key players. I think ultimately we've always said, despite the change for Liverpool this summer, we're going to get better as the season goes by, and ultimately, as Gary's saying there, you want to be peaking after Christmas towards the run-in at the end of the season. We've had some tough games already, but just while we're here at this moment in time, we just want to end this run as soon as possible, just to try and lift the mood a little bit going into that game at Brentford at the weekend. And of course the Champions League, we'll be one of the favourites to win the Champions League. It's been a great competition over the years, and we'll be looking to hopefully do well in that as well. And we'll want to swerve being in the playoffs. We want to be in the top 8 like we were last year.
Yeah.
Winning it didn't help us. Obviously we got PSG, but we want to be in the top 8 as well, so all of a sudden that comes into it as well.
I think that's what you've got to look back at as well. Remember, our campaign in the Champions League last season just went like so smoothly, right up to the last game where it didn't really matter. But ultimately at the end of that, you get knocked out in the very in the knockout stages. So it's all about reaching the final. And at this moment in time, what we're lying 17th, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
A result here tonight would certainly go a long way to maybe easing the nerves a little bit and maybe finishing in that.
It would be a good place to start, wouldn't it? They trained together, of course, in front of the TV cameras on Tuesday at the AXA Training Centre. There we go. Just before they headed onto the flight over to Germany. In situations like this, Mels, what are the conversations being had at the training ground to try and address the issues that we've seen in the past few weeks?
Well, I mentioned it a little bit earlier on. You want another game as soon as possible because you're thinking we've got a chance to put it right. And they'll be looking round, and there's a lot of players that were here last season. There's a lot of belief and trust in each other. They know that they've won the Premier League title. They're looking round and going, we know we can do this. We know we can end this run and we can put our run together. We started the season by winning, what did we win? 7 games in a row in all competitions. So already this season we've had the highs of that run. So all of a sudden they'll be looking around knowing that they've got trust in each other, and just to try and put it around, come on lads, we need to sort this out. So hopefully they will tonight.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of work going on the training ground, Gary, but also it's mentality, isn't it, and confidence, and that's the sort of thing that you can't really get back on the training ground. That is just about getting results, isn't it?
Confidence is a big thing, isn't it? But I mean, if you're sat in that dressing room and you're looking around like the players that sitting beside you, you sign like a guy for like 100 million, 115 million, and a guy for 125 million. Your other strikers cost you 75 million. And you look at the talents and the ability that they have, then I don't think you're going to be worried for too long. And there is quality within the squad, and players know that and appreciate that. And when you're within a dressing room, as a player, you kind of know the feeling that you'll be okay. I don't think they'll be panicking at all. I think they've been the course and distance on many an occasion. And let's face it, they've been up there challenging possibly for the last 5 out of the last 6 years.
Yep.
And I don't see any reason why it won't be the same again this year.
OK, thank you both. It is time now for our viewers on social media to leave us goodbye to you, rather. But our Matchday Live build-up does continue right here on LFC TV, an all-red video as well. If you are not yet a subscriber of either of those, then you can right now find details how to sign up online, liverpoolfc.com/watch. So coming up in the rest of our pre-match show, Dominic Szoboszlai will give us his assessment of tonight's encounter with Frankfurt from just before kick-off. Steve Hunter and Jay Spearing are here to guide you through all the action with our live audio commentary service. Then after full time, Neil and Jay will join myself back in the studio to look over the game. That post-match show will also be available to listen to in the reaction later on the club's official podcast. You can watch the full game on LFC TV from midnight tonight and tomorrow at 6. Neil is here. He's back again to do a deep dive into tonight's proceedings alongside myself in the Champions League review show.